My nephew learned why stealing from my son was the worst decision he ever made. So my sister's kid Dylan has been living with us for 3 months because he got kicked out of his apartment for not paying rent. My son Tommy turned 13 last month, and my dad gave him this old painting he bought at an estate auction years ago. It's this small oil painting of a harbor with boats. Nothing that looks special, but my dad had it appraised and it's worth around $15,000. Tommy keeps it in his room on his desk because he likes looking at it while he does homework. Last Tuesday I get home from work and Tommy is crying in the kitchen. The painting is gone. Dylan says he has no idea what we're talking about. Tommy swears he saw Dylan in his room that morning, but Dylan keeps denying it, says Tommy probably lost it or one of his friends took it. My sister comes over and she's immediately defending Dylan, saying Tommy is just confused and we shouldn't accuse Dylan without proof. I'm trying to stay calm, but I know something's off. 2 days later, I'm going through the mail and there's a receipt from an auction house downtown addressed to Dylan. He tried to grab it from me, but I already saw it. $12,000 wire transfer for one oil painting. I show it to him and he changes his story immediately. Says the painting was his, that my dad gave it to him, not Tommy, that we're all confused about who owns what. My sister jumps in saying maybe there was a misunderstanding and we should all calm down. Dylan starts saying he needed the money for a new apartment deposit and he was going to pay us back anyway. I tell him he needs to get the painting back immediately. He says it's already sold to some collector in Japan and there's nothing he can do. My sister actually says, well, maybe this is a lesson for Tommy about keeping his things safe. I almost lost it, but I just told them both to leave. That night I'm thinking about how Dylan has been staying in our guest room rent-free, eating our food, using our everything. And then I remember something. Dylan has been keeping his stuff in our garage, including this vintage motorcycle he won't shut up about. It's a 1978 Honda CB750 that he spent 2 years restoring. He always talks about how it's worth at least $20,000 and how he'll never sell it because it's his baby. The next morning, Dylan leaves for his job at the warehouse. I call my cousin Rico, who deals with vintage bikes, and tell him I need a favor. He comes over with his truck and we load up the Honda. I listed on 3 different marketplace sites for $8,000, priced to move fast. By noon, I have 4 people interested. This guy Bruce shows up at 2 p.m. with cash and doesn't even haggle. I sign the title that Dylan stupidly left in the garage with the bike and hand it over. Bruce drives away with the bike and I put the $8,000 in an envelope. Dylan gets home at 5:30 and goes straight to the garage like he always does to check on his bike. The screaming starts immediately. Where the hell is my bike? He's running into the house, losing his mind. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with the envelope in front of me. I tell him calmly that I sold it. He starts screaming about calling the cops, how I stole from him, how that bike was everything to him. I slide the envelope across the table and tell him there's $8,000 for his new apartment deposit since he needed money so badly. That bike was worth $20,000, he screams. I tell him that's weird because I thought when people need money, they sell things for whatever they can get. Isn't that what he told us about Tommy's painting? He tries to grab his phone to call the police, but I remind him that he's been living here with no lease, no proof of residency, and the bike was stored on my property. Plus, I have a signed receipt saying he sold a painting that was reported as stolen from my house. He starts demanding to know who bought it, saying he'll track them down and get it back. I tell him the buyer already texted me that he's shipping it to his brother in Arizona as a birthday present, so good luck with that. Dylan calls my sister, and she shows up 20 minutes later. She sees the money on the table and starts yelling at me about family and trust, and how I could do this. I tell her Dylan sold my 13-year-old son's inheritance for quick cash, and I did exactly the same thing. She says it's different because Dylan needed the money, and I'm an adult who should know better. I tell her she's right. I do know better, which is why Dylan has 2 hours to pack his stuff and get out of my house. Dylan took the $8,000 and left. My sister hasn't talked to me in a month. Last week, Tommy asked if we'll ever get the painting back, and I had to tell him no, but at least Dylan learned what it feels like when someone takes something irreplaceable from you.